back to my channel. So I'm here with
Chiara.
You guys know her by now. And we're back with another Tuesday Talks. So today we're going to be talking about forgiveness. Before we go to that, I'm sorry about my voice. Again, it's like raspy, but we're going to work with it. So we're going to be talking about forgiveness today. I'm just talking about our own experience with forgiveness, how we forgave, and a couple Bible verses to encourage us. So I'm going to be reading Mark 11:25, and it says, "And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them, so that your Father in heaven may forgive your sins."
Well, I've heard this verse plenty of times, and honestly, like, every time I hear this verse, like, I'm shook every time, because literally, like, it's so clear and so, like, explicit, saying that, like, when you come to the Lord in prayer, like, if you're holding anything against anybody, like, straight up, your prayers are not being heard. Like, if you're asking for forgiveness for something else, you're trying to get, like, you know, there's just other things that you want to get done in your life, like, God cannot give you what it is that you want because you're not able to forgive. And, like, it's honestly crazy because there's so many things that we all want in our life. You know, like, we want breakthroughs for our families, we want financial financial blessings, we want to be prosperous, we want, you know, like, these situations or trials or seasons, you know, to end, and we just want to see fruit and all of these different things. But in reality, like, the fact that you didn't, let's say you didn't forgive your mom for something she did to you when you were little, or you didn't forgive your brother, there's animosity you're holding towards, like, one of your exes, things that, like, are real and important in your life and that actually need to, like, get done, and things that need to be broken and all these different things, like, you can't progress because you haven't forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
And every time, like, you know, I come to God in prayer, I always think about that, because I'm like, wow, like, Lord, forgive me if there's anything that I'm holding against anybody, because at the end of the day, I don't have time to have, like, to not be getting my blessings, to have my family not saved, to not, like, you know, do all of these things that I want to do, because I'm not forgiving somebody. Because at the end of the day, that ain't got nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with me. Like, they could be living their life all nice and dandy, not even knowing that I feel any type of way. But in reality, it's only affecting me because I'm not getting the breakthroughs I want to see in my life. I'm not, you know, being, like, I'm not able to be prosperous. Like, I'm not able to see, like, let's say my tithe or my offering be multiplied because I'm mad at my ex, or because I'm mad at my dad, or because I'm mad at my mom.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things that I think, when I heard this, I think I heard it in a preaching, is that God forgave us before we even said sorry. So I think for me, I had a lot of resentment and unforgiveness towards my dad because he wasn't super active in my life. And I wanted a sorry, you know what I mean? I think that's how we feel a lot of times, like, when we're going through stuff and someone did something to us. No, like, he's not even sorry, da, 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 da. You know what I mean? Like, we want them to give us something. We want closure. And I had to forgive without them telling me sorry, but God checked me and he's like, I forgave you. You never even told me I'm sorry. Like, I forgave you when you were in your mess. When you were still with your back turned to me, I forgave you. You know? So that's something that I had to check myself with. And at the end of the day, like, we just want to be more like Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to become more like him. And unforgiveness only affects us. Like, I heard this quote one time and it says, like, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and thinking it's going to kill the other person. Like, we swear holding bitterness, resentment, and unforgiveness is like, oh no, like, I'm not going to let them, like, da, 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 da. That's only affecting you. It's only affecting your progress and your relationship with God. So I think, and at the end of the day, we say it like this, but I know I struggled a lot with unforgiveness. Like, you know, we say, like, oh, forgive, but it's hard. And we know it's hard. And I think for a long time, I tried to forgive by myself. And that's why I wasn't able to. Because I tried to do it in my own power. But until I really gave it to God and I said, God, I cannot do this by myself. Like, I cannot forgive him. I cannot forgive people by myself because I'm human, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I want to hold resentment. Like, I want to be bitter, you know? But I really had to ask God, God, renew my mind and help me to forgive them. Because without God, we're not really able to forgive people truly. And one thing I also wanted to say is that, like, forgiveness is sometimes a daily thing. Like, forgiveness is not always going to be one day you forgive and it's totally over. Like, you're never going to have any sense of resentment ever again. Sometimes forgiveness is like, you just have to, every day, I'm going to choose to forgive God. I'm going to choose to forgive. Just help me let go of bitterness, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and just going back to, like, what you had said about closure. Like, I feel like closure is something that people want like so badly.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, like I just need to talk to him one more time. Like I just need closure. Like, sis, you do not need closure. Like obviously, like you want that person to be like, hey, like I'm sorry for doing you wrong. I'm sorry for this. You want an explanation. You want all of these different things. But sometimes like just straight up and simply, you're not gonna get that. And like I remember there was this guy that I was talking to, and I remember like I was trying to like go with him. And like I'm like no, like, and I told him like no, I just need to go talk to him like just one last time. Like I just need to know what happened. Like I need to know like was this all just a game and da like. And at the end of the day, like, and I went to go talk to him. Girl, I left with more questions, like straight up, because at the end of the day, like. You're not going to get everything that you want. Like, there's always going to be an unanswered question. There's always going to be, like, a sorry that was never said. But at the end of the day, like, you can't have, like, your happiness and your forgiveness and your relationship with God really be affected by, something that happened or something that somebody said to you or the hurt that somebody did to you. And, it's like what she said, like, it is hard. And I'm not saying that it's not hard. Like, it's hard. Like, when people do you wrong, it is real life hard. Like, if it's somebody you really care about, if it's one of your family members, especially, like, if it's somebody that you really, like, trusted and they hurt you, it's hard as heck. Like, it's real life hard. But at the end of the day, like, is that something you want to carry for the rest of your life, Because sometimes we just let little things, like, just build up and build up and build up. And some, like, it might have started as something small, but you just kept, like, adding things to it. Like, oh, no, like, well, first, like, they hurt me because they did this. And then you're just kind of mad about it. But then after they did this, too. So, like, you just start to pile on all of these different things. And then it's just, like, you have all of this, like, unforgiveness, all of this resentment, all of this hate, all of this sadness in your heart. And at the end of the day, like, that's just not how God wants us to live. Like, you just can't live like that. Like, it's just not beneficial to you.
And I think sometimes we put unrealistic expectations on people, like our family members, like, but kind of like unsaid. Like, you don't even tell them, but like when they don't do it, you're like, oh my God. And you start to like really get resentment in your heart. And I think reality is that we're all human. And something that my mom always told me, which I'm so glad she told me ever since I was really little. And obviously at a young age, I might have not understood, but she planted a seed and she said, at the end of the day, Ricely, I'm your mom, but I might fail you. Only person that won't fail you is God. And that's really what we have to understand. As people, we're close. We're really close. But reality is that she's going to fail me sometimes, and so am I. And I have to be able to forgive her, and she has to be able to forgive me. And that's the same thing. We have to realize that the only person that's never going to fail you is God. So I can't put unrealistic expectations on her, because then I'm just holding bitterness and resentment that she doesn't even know what she did, and I'm here holding bitterness, So even like with family members, with friends, like we really have to realize the only person that's perfect is God. We're striving towards being more like Him, but reality is that we're gonna die. We're still not gonna be perfect, So just like we did so many things and God forgave us, we have to really, really like, God, you forgave me, and I know I've done a lot of things. I know we've done a lot of things. That if it was not for God, we wouldn't be forgiven, we wouldn't be able to live in the freedom that we do. So anytime that you're having a hard time forgiving someone, just really like reflect on all the times that God forgave you, even when you didn't deserve it, when God loved you when you didn't deserve it, and I still don't deserve it, and He still loves us, so that's really what we have to realize.
Yeah. And just the last thing is like, one thing that's really important is forgiveness doesn't mean like your relationship has to go back to exactly how it was. Straight up, I can, like, let's say if she does something to me, like, I can forgive her, but I can decide that I'm not going to be as close as we were before. Like, obviously, it depends on what it is, but, like, it's the same thing, like, you can only do your part, especially, like, when it comes to, like, people, like, their parents and stuff like that. Like, you might forgive your dad, but honestly, it's up to your dad to build that relationship with you. Like, you can obviously, like, like, extend the hand, but if they don't want to have that same relationship with you, then at the end of the day, you can't force them. Or even, like, if you feel uncomfortable, like, hey, like, you really hurt me, like, when I told you this and you told everybody, like, and that really hurt me, like, I'm gonna forgive you. But you can also decide that, hey, I'm gonna forgive you, but I can't have the same relationship that I did with you before, and that's okay. Like, forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to be dumb and just, do the same exact things, but it means that, hey, I forgive you, I'm not harboring any animosity, I'm not harboring any hate, but maybe like we can't be as close as we did before.
Yeah, and I think that's like you said, there's a difference between forgiving and just being dumb. Because sometimes God allows situations to happen in order for us to realize who people are. Because at the end of the day, if I have a boyfriend and he decides he's gonna beat me, and oh my God, I forgive you, it's okay. Like, okay, all right. Like, God showed you who they were, so you need to remove yourself from the situation, but you cannot harbor unforgiveness because that's going to stop you from being able to get yourself back to having that relationship with God. So, like she said, there's a difference between forgiveness and just being dumb. So, yeah. So that's pretty much it for our video on forgiveness. Make sure you comment below any topics that you would like us to talk about in the future. We're open to anything. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow Chiara. Well, subscribe and follow her on Instagram, whatever. Chiara Delia, and I'm gonna link her channel down below. So thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys. Bye.